And we are back. Welcome to my first ever Europa League and Europa Conference League group stage prediction video. Firstly, I'd just like to say thank you to any of you who stayed up and watched my reaction to the Bayern-Manchester United game last night. I had an absolute full meltdown, so if you did miss that video, please make sure to check it out. I'll put a little link to it in the top of the screen where my face is right now. But as for today, we are here to talk about 31 Europa League and Europa Conference League matches. And this is going to be a little bit quicker than usual. I don't have time really to go through each game bit by bit, otherwise we'll be here for about half an hour. So it's going to be quick fire predictions, bang, 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 bang. But there are still two things that I can promise you. Firstly, I've still put as much effort into making these predictions as I always do. So please be ensured that these are as realistic as I can make them. And secondly, I can promise you I'm going to get a lot of these team names wrong. So if I do offend anyone by getting your club's team name wrong, please let me know down in the comments how I should say them correctly. Because yeah, there are some teams in here that even I have not actually heard of before. So if all of that commitment to the cause is not worth a like on this video, I don't know what is. And please do consider subscribing to the channel as well. We've had a lot of support and a lot of new subscribers coming in over the last few weeks. So thank you very much for all of that. And of course, we'll then have our return to Premier League predictions tomorrow. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on that. Let's get into an awful lot of European football predictions. And we'll start off with the Europa League, and we'll start off in Group A. It's Olympiacos and Freiburg. I am going to go for a 1-1 draw in that one. Then we see West Ham make their Europa League return after, of course, winning the Europa Conference League last year. I'm going to go for a 4-0 win for them over Baka Topola. Into Group into Group B, and we start with Ajax and Marseille. And I actually think that Marseille are going to take this one. Ajax have made a really poor start to the season. And then we see Brighton make their European debut against AEK Athens. I am going to go for a 3-0 win to Brighton. Into Group C, it is Rangers and Real Betis. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to the Spanish side, bouncing back from their heavy defeat to Real Madrid at the weekend. The other game in that Group C, Sparta Prague taking on Aris Limassol, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Sparta Prague. Into Group D, it's Atalanta against Rako Czestochowa, I think. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to the Italians. And then for Sturm Graz against Sporting Lisbon, I am going to go for a surprising 2-2 draw. Sporting will be the favourites, but Sturm have made a very good start to their domestic season, and I think Sporting have not been quite at their best so far. On to Group E, it's Lask against Liverpool, and as much as I'd love to see Liverpool lose, I think they're going to take this group with relative ease, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to start off their Europa League campaign. The other game in that group sees Union Saint-Gilloise of Belgium taking on Toulouse of France. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to the Belgian side. On to Group F, it's Panathinaikos and Villarreal, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Villarreal. And then in the other game, it is Rennes taking on Maccabi Haifa. Free scoring Rennes, I'm going to go for a 4-1 win. Free scoring, but still leaking goals as well. On to, I believe we're now on to Group G. It is Sheriff starting off against Jose Mourinho's Roma. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Roma, although watch out for Sheriff. We know how dangerous they can be at times. And then it is the Swiss side Servette taking on Slavia Prague, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in that one. The final group of the Europa League starts with Bayer Leverkusen up against Hacken, and I am going to go for a 4-0 win to the current leaders in the Bundesliga. And then finally, it is Karabag against Molde, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. That is it for the Europa League. We now move on to the Europa Conference League. And thankfully, the game that was played yesterday was in Group A. Otherwise, I'd probably lose my place as to what group we are in. So we can just carry straight on with the second game in Group A, which is Slavan Bratislava taking on Kladwig. And I am going to start off these predictions with a 2-1 win to Slovan Bratislava. The first game in Group B sees Maccabi Tel Aviv taking on Breidablik. And I am going to go for a 4-0 win to Maccabi Tel Aviv. In the other game in Group B, we have Zoya taking on Ghent, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Ghent. On to Group C, it's Dinamo Zagreb taking on Astana. Two teams that are very popular to these competitions, but I think Zagreb should be the strong favourites, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to them. And then we have Victoria Pilsen, Champions League team last year, taking on Balkani, and I'm going to go for a 4-1 win to Pilsen. On to Group D, we start off with Club Brugge and Besiktas. This is probably the biggest game of the night in the Europa Conference. I think it's going to be a well thought out affair, and I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, purely due to the fact that Bruges do have a fair few injuries to key players at the moment. We then have Lugano taking on Bodo Glimt, and I'm going to go for a win to Bodo Glimt. Again, another side we see an awful lot in this competition. Next up, it is Legia Warsaw taking on Aston Villa as they make their way into the Europa Conference, possibly as the overall favourites for the tournament as things stand. Obviously, we don't know what sides are going to make their way down from the Europa League yet, but as things stand, I think we have to think Aston Villa will be the favourites. I'm backing them to start off their campaign with a 3-1 win over Legia. The other game in that group sees Zreniging Mostar taking on AZ Alkmaar, and I think we should all be thinking that the Dutch side will be taking this, although it could be a tight affair. AZ have not made the best starts to their season either. Next up, it's Ferencváros taking on Kukaritski, I think. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Ferencváros in that one. And then we have the runaway leaders of the Belgian league at the start of the season taking on Fiorentina. A lot of people saying Fiorentina are the favourites for this one. Not in my opinion. I think Ghent will get the job done. And I'm going to go for 2-1 to the Belgian leaders. Then we have Eintracht Frankfurt taking on Aberdeen. And as much as... well, to be honest, I don't care about either of these teams. It's a German team and a Scottish team. I know there's a lot of people that like to see the British teams do well, but I couldn't care less about the Scottish teams. And I think Aberdeen are well out of their depth against a team like Frankfurt. So I'm going to go for 4-0 to Frankfurt. And I apologise to any Aberdeen fans watching. And if you do get a result tonight, fair play to you. We then have Helsinki, otherwise known as HJK. They take on PAOK. And I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in that one. We then have Fenerbahce taking on Nordsjælland. Fenerbahce have had a very good start to this season, but so have Nordsjælland as well. Could be a tight affair. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Fenerbahce. And finally, it is Ludogorets taking on Spartak Trnava, something like that, TRN. Please, again, in the comments, explain to me how I'm supposed to say that. I'm going to go for a Ludogorets 2-0 win. And that is going to be it for all of the predictions for the Europa League and the Europa Conference League. Let me know your thoughts, if you think I've got any drastically wrong there. Like I say, that was 31 predictions in the space of about 5 minutes. So let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you very much for watching as always. I'll be back tomorrow morning with the return of the Premier League.